The Lounge, proudly brought to you by Johnny Walker. Keep walking.
Good evening and welcome to The Lounge. The Lounge is sponsored by Johnny Walker. Keep walking, and it's recorded at the Equator Bar at La Palm Royal Beach Hotel. My name is Kweku Sechiado. So you might have heard about the Coffee Shop Mafia. Legend has it that they are a group of mean-faced men who meet regularly in a dimly lit bar somewhere in Accra in the company of many empty bottles, and Cohiba smoke wafts and fills the air. In between refills and ash flakes, they debate, argue, and analyze everything from liquid mechanics, as in what is inside President Mahama's flask, to Mrs. Charlotte Osei's vital statistics. And I'm talking about the election statistics that she put out. But apparently, the mafia comprises men of varying backgrounds, professional backgrounds, lawyers, technology experts, journalists, law officers. In fact, they could do very well as a think tank. Well, today, two of the coffee shop mafiosi who supported opposing sides in the elections joined me at the Equator Bar at La Palm Royal Beach Hotel for post-election analysis over drinks. Randy Abbey is a TV show host on Metro TV's Good Morning Ghana, a sports administrator and owner of Hearts of Lions. Egbert Faibille is a lawyer and publisher of the Observer newspaper. And as I said a moment ago, the two men supported opposing sides in the elections. So what was the bet and who won? Welcome back to The Lounge. So, guys, how much was the bet?
Well, I wouldn't say there was a bet, but obviously the stakes were very high.
How come you didn't put up? How come nobody put up a bet?
They were scared.
Oh no. We were not scared. That is we who supports the president-elect Nana Akufo-Addo. We're not scared at all. We knew we were going to wallop our friends on the other side.
Did you believe you would win, or did you believe you would wallop?
I, speaking for myself, you know, I'm the head of the chief of intelligence and strategy at the Coffee Shop Mafia, and some of the things available to me are not available to Randy. You know? So I knew that we're going to wallop them. I knew.
Yeah.
Well,
Randy.
Well, aftermath, talk is cheap. Talk is cheap. I really was confident that GM was going to carry the day. I mean, I was confident. I believed he was going to do it, and it didn't happen. You know, yeah. And
were you surprised by the loss, or even more surprised by the margin of the loss?
I was surprised by
defeat.
I was surprised by the both the margin and how widespread it was. You know, I was surprised. I didn't think that some of the places that he lost, he was going to lose in those places. I didn't expect that to happen. I didn't expect that to happen. So quite a number of the constituencies that he lost came as a huge surprise.
Like which?
Some of the northern region constituencies, and you know, there were some that they had issues, post-primaries issues, where you had
Independent
candidates. You had some constituencies where those who lost the primaries, the incumbents, were reported to be campaigning against those who won the primaries or supporting independent candidates, you know. And then you also had areas where they didn't have independent candidates, yet they lost badly. There are places that the MPP actually even lost for the first time, you know, and so it's then difficult for you to really point to a particular reason, because there could be places where you will talk about the effect of independent candidates. There were places where you could talk about the posturing of the incumbents who lost. There were places that you could then either talk about the unpopularity of the candidate himself or a swing to the
candidate
NDP.
being the president, or you mean the
parliamentary
MP,
candidate?
the parliamentary
Yes,
candidate?
yes. Because in fact there were some areas where they lost the parliamentary and the president won. There were some areas
The NDC lost the parliamentary,
yes,
but
yeah,
the president had a
won.
majority
Yes,
of the votes.
Yes, and there were some places too where I remember a couple of places, I think Clotte-Colley and then Cape Coast, Ricketts Place, where GM lost the presidential, but
Ricketts won.
Ricketts
Cape
and,
Coast South, yeah.
Ricketts and Zenato won the parliamentary.
Right.
You know, so it looks like you need to look at it if you want to really look at the parliamentary, which also has an effect on the presidency, a case by case basis. But then if you also look at the bigger picture, there could be themes that run through in terms of general economic issues here.
Yeah. I know you're pretty close to the president.
Extremely.
How's he doing?
It's good. It's extremely good. It's good. I mean, he's taking it as a man. I mean, I wasn't surprised. I mean, knowing the person that I know, the person that I've known from 1987, who I've been extremely close to, and it is that relationship with him and his family which made me support him when he decided to contest in 2012 and also this time around. And it's something that I didn't make a secret. My friends at the coffee shop knew in 2012 I even had to call for a meeting, you know, for us to sit down, because I believe in that look, we're friends, we're moving on. If I decide to take a certain decision, I think it's only fair that we all know
Of course.
where we
everybody
stand on
stands.
issues.
And we all
Yeah,
respected it.
yeah,
I mean,
we-
to date, everybody,
we-
you know, in the Coffee Shop Mafia appreciates that posturing of Randy. I mean, when he had to take the plunge, I mean, he called and said, well, you know, John Mahama and I have been very close. Indeed, John Mahama himself was a foundation
founding
member
member,
of the Coffee Shop Mafia, you know, in the 2000s. And so we all have some kind of connection to him. But Randy's very deep, and then he kept faith with him. And of course, I mean, Randy never, if you like, turned his back on the Coffee Shop, you know, Mafia. Every now and then, yes, his frequency of passing through reduced, but every now and then he will side by you on WhatsApp, or he will call you. He will pass through when he has the time and all. So, all in all, I would say that, well, we at the coffee shop are privileged, because here we are, myself, Kweku Bako, a few others are happy that, you know, the man we vouch for, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, you know, has been elected president of the Republic. And I know on the other side, the likes of Randy and some others whose names I wouldn't want to mention are also down. And you know what I've become specialist in lately is that, you know, we have this WhatsApp platform, and all the things that go on social media, taking a dig at, you know, the NDC and President Mahama. In fact, it appears that they're all directed to me, and I keep, you know, shooting them on the platform.
His latest about an hour ago was Onapo FM 44.4. And then
the tagline
we are in a comfortable lane. You know, I saw it and I almost sent him a text. I'm waffled.
That's a favorite tagline of mine, you know. So it's all fun. I mean, a lot of people outside wonder. They think that at the coffee shop, what we do is to set up schemes and all the rest. But hey,
I was actually just going to ask, you know, so what is the coffee shop mafia?
What the Coffee Shop Mafia is about is essentially exchange of ideas, and I think that there's also a certain patriotic loft that every member has. And so at the end of the day, when people have gone to their various places of work, have listened to the news, have come across all kinds of scenarios, it becomes a melting pot, some sort of a crucible. People come in and start telling their stories, and then we take a day and say, no, Charlie, what you're saying?
And a watering hole.
Yeah, of course. I mean, Chino Achebe once said that Proverbs are the palm wine, are the palm oil with which food is eaten, something to that effect. So at a coffee shop, I think that, alcohol is also, a lubricant sort of for discussions. I mean, people come in and have a few drinks and discuss matters, never a violent moment. I mean, I love to, for example, take on Kweku Bako.
Yeah, you like to provoke him.
Oh yes, I provoke him, and then he keeps back telling me that I do palm wine bar analysis sometimes and all of that. Even today, he said that to me on some matter about appointments and whether certain persons should be removed from positions they hold by the president-elect when he becomes president and all. I am of a very strong position that there are some persons who ought to even resign before the president-elect takes office. I don't want to mention names, but it is all out there. And Kweku is of the position, no, some people should be left alone. And I said, no. It shouldn't be the case. I mean, where after about 2 or 3 transitions, I think that the conventions have become very clear. Nobody should try and shift the post. Certain positions in this country have become political positions. And hey, I think that, and it's also about the vision of the incoming president. If he doesn't see somebody being fit to prosecute that vision, I think that the person must give way. But a whole lot of people, like civil servants, public servants, whose positions are not political, ought to remain, at post, because they are, if you like, a critical mass of people that we need. But we know the positions that are political, and so when that time comes, I believe, from what
without getting specific.
Yes.
Give me an example of these that are supposed to be non-political but convention, as you say.
Free zones board. My friend Kojo Chumbafo.
Okay.
I between me and him, I think that he should even resign. I mean, we all know his posturing. I also think that Temari Refinery, Mr. Wadakun, he was advertising for President Mahama. If you hold a public position like that, I know, for example, that he contested as an NDC parliamentary candidate for Iwaso West Wagon 22. He didn't win. He ends up there. If he had even left it at that, I would say that, you see, these things, we are going and trudging as a nation, and we need to look at some of these things and try very hard to conduct ourselves as public servants and know nothing more. You understand? I mean, I recall.
So what you're saying is that if you cross the line, then it means that you're ready to be.
For example, there's this very impressive man. I mean, not just intelligent as well. Robert Lindsay. He was GIPC, and then he's a Cape Coast star.
He was the CEO.
Lindsay, very prominent name in Cape Coast. There was President Mills, also a notable Cape Coast star. President Mills comes to office. Lindsay had just spent barely under a year at GIPC, and President Mills removed him under pressure from his party, the NDC. And I even wrote an article in my newspaper, just playing on the name.
You removed him from the position? From the position.
I said, Ebe, Ejata, easy, I mean, some of these things, we need to, as a people, and Lindsay hadn't done politics in Ghana before. He was just got in.
Now
yes.
He is.
Yeah, now, yes, of course. But if you go through such, these are the people who check me out. I mean, I don't want to believe in that.
I think that if we go on that tangent,
I can see one of the mafiosi just walked in, going to take his seat at the bar.
If we go on that tangent, we would have a lot of examples. There are people who were yanked off when governments changed in 2001. People who thought that, they shouldn't have been changed and all that. I've gotten to a point where I think that with some of the positions even mentioned, if you got a position and that position is not, let's say, one of those positions that are secured by the Constitution, and it is because it is your party in power, an agency under a ministry. I think that for a lot of people that he mentioned, they know themselves that they are going anyway. I mean, their party brought them there, and they would move on, unless maybe the incumbent thinks that they have some exceptional skills or there's a reason why he wants to keep them there. I know that at the back of their mind, they know. I mean, but they would wait. I mean, they have a few weeks to go. Nobody should push them. Let them hand over properly. I'm sure they know that once the government is not in, I mean, they obviously will have to leave the scene. Same way people who will be appointed today. If tomorrow the party lose power, they would also know that they would have to leave. We have certain positions that are secured by the constitution. They are insulated from some of these things. And so those positions, once people get in, you know that until
it's a
certain,
lot more difficult to
until certain things are activated or breached, you can't do anything about that. The others that, I mean, you came in because it was your party. If your party is no more, it is at the pleasure of the incoming government to decide whether you bid or not. But back to the issue of coffee shop that we're talking about. Interestingly, Egbert and I will qualify to be those you want to call second generation coffee shop members. You know, we came in and met, you know, and incidentally, the two of us also started Newsfile.
Yes.
You know, around the same time.
Around the same time.
You know, and that's when those are the days where we'll do Newsfile. Then from Newsfile we'll go to Heavy Do.
Right.
So we do the Heavy Do before we come to coffee shop. So the coffee shop was after the food, where we come sit down, have the drinks, and do all the political arguments too late. And until recently, until recently, you had a lot of members of the public who come to sit around. They just come, book tables around, just to hear us and watch us argue and everything. You know,
Honorable Spio Gabra.
Edith Hazel, John Mahama, they were early days people. Kwesi Pratt, you know, what's Sonny Decker,
right?
You know, yes, and
who used to host
Newsfile, So then Egbert and I were the young terrorists, you know, who will and we'll go on the program. And you know, sometimes you know, Kweku, he likes to take it. He likes to play diplomatic sometimes, so he will leave it for us. We had the, you know, to go on
the Rottweiler.
To go on and there was one program I recall, Obutan. Remember?
Yes, I remember.
You know, that was the first day Gabby came into the Newsfile studio with a laptop, and they flipped it, and you know, this guy just told me,
So this was the project that Ken Oforiatta,
that data bank
was supposed to have been involved in, and there was a little controversy around and whether there had been some shenanigans.
But I think it will be unfair to our listeners if we don't also speak to the origin of the name Coffee Shop Mafia. Because Alhaji Abbey Fuseni, of Daily Graphic fame and recently
Member of Parliament
and Deputy Notary General. So, you know, when you know
that was the second term of President Kufuor.
Yes, during the second term of President. Well, I mean, word went round that there are a group of journalists who meet at Laboni Coffee Shop, and look, they are able to wheel and deal and ensure that things get done. You know,
like the kitchen cabinet.
Yes, all kinds of things. You know, so I think that on the other side, our friends in NDC also felt that, well, first of all, they needed to shoot down whatever we're doing. So they brought a rival program on a rival radio station, and then they went there and Radio Gold, and then they went and said, oh, those guys who sit at Laboni Coffee, they're mafia. We said, oh, okay, if you're a mafia, we like it. We took the name and put our imprimatur on it, and since then
it was supposed to be derogatory,
right?
But,
and actually insulting us, and then we adopted it. It was sort of the Calipo thing,
right?
So we adopted it, and the thing about coffee shop at that time was that, look, we had a database of everybody. Maybe man was the Pope, and perhaps the U.S. president, and people like Kofi Wayo will tell you, you come there, you make a statement, we subject it to strict proof. If we have to call even the president, we will place that call let him know that he's on speaker and verify immediately.
Instant.
So if you're not in a position to substantiate anything, don't come and sit at coffee shop and say it.
And the speaker is Kwame Sefakan.
Chairman.
You know, yes. I mean, neutral
Speaker
as
for life.
Neutral as
You know, in all this, we are very undemocratic.
no, recently, there was a coup attempt. I wanted him removed, and one of us, we hacked the plot. We actually did whatever we had to do, and one of us, you know, who is an IT expert, who I relied on, failed me at the very last minute.
He allowed the system to be hacked.
The system was hacked. Seriously.
You're watching The Lounge, coming to you from the Equator Bar at La Palm Royale Beach Hotel. We're doing post-election analysis with two members of the Coffee Shop Mafia. We're taking a quick break. We'll be back in a moment.